Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto becomes the new god of war? Part 2. Subscribe if you enjoy the video. Let's start the story. 1 month later. Naruto and Anko grew closer as sensei and students. They were usually seen either at a dango stand or with Kurenai's squad. He began training in handling his weapons, both the Blades of Chaos and the Blade of Artemis. A rather large sword created in a S shape but not as heavy as it looked. It had a dark blue color to it, and as he and Anko continued to go on C-rank missions, usually involving eliminating bandits, it now had a dark purple glow to it. The Blades of Chaos themselves now had red runes glowing on them, showing it was mastered. A couple weeks back Danzo told Naruto that his mother was waking up and he could be happier. Flashback 2 weeks ago. Naruto and Anko were ending another training session as Rude Anbu appeared before Naruto. Anko drew a kunai, but Naruto grabbed her arm and he said, "What business do you have here?" The Anbu spoke quickly as he said, "Naruto-sama, I have urgent news from Danzo-sama. It seems your mother is finally coming out of the coma. She should be awake soon. With your permission, we will take her to your clan estate, is that alright with you?" Naruto nodded and said, "Yes, it is, but be discreet, I don't want those bastards on the council to know she's out of their hands." The Anbu nodded and left, leaving only a swirl of leaves behind. Anko said, "What the hell was that? You're working with Danzo?" Naruto turned to her and said, "He helped me find my mother and he also made it to where we would be sensei and students. I doubt that you are very trusting of him due to his position, but I assure you, he is on our side. He has been leeching info from Orochimaru, acting as if he was working with him for a while now, and one piece of info he gained was a way to remove that disgusting mark from you." Anko reached her hand to her curse mark, not believing that it could be removed. Naruto moved closer to her and put his hand on hers. And he said, "I told you, we both have the same enemy, I wish to help you. I have developed a way to remove the curse, but you need to trust me." Anko merely said, "If there is any way to get rid of this, please do it. Not even the Sannin was able to remove it, but if you can, I'll be eternally grateful. I'll do whatever you ask." Naruto placed his hand under her chin and said, "No need to be so dramatic, I will rid that disgusting mark from you, and all you need to do is close your eyes." When she closed her eyes, she felt a tug at her mind and saw both Naruto and what looked like a woman standing next to him. She wore a blood-red kimono and had 9 foxtails behind her. Anko could only gasp and say, "Kyuubi." Kyuubi smirked and said, "Yes child, I am her." She walked closer to Anko and said, Now I see why Naruto-kun has become so taken with you, strong, beautiful, and quite ruthless when you want to be." Both parties had the decency to blush, both for obvious reasons. Then Kyuubi became serious as she said, "Unfortunately we don't have time for pleasantries as I can sense the source of the curse mark. Let's go." She walked down a hallway, Naruto and Anko following. They soon reached a room where an image of Orochimaru sat, sitting on a throne. Anko almost charged at it, but Naruto held her back. He said, "That's a piece of Orochimaru's soul, if we destroy it, the curse mark will go with it. Allow me to take care of this." He drew the Blade of Artemis and disappeared. He then reappeared behind the throne the fake Orochimaru was sitting in, the blade in an after-slash position. A diagonal cut went through the throne and the fake. The next thing Anko saw was the shocked look on the fake as the throne and the torso began to slide down, a pool of blood began to show before the blood was drawn into the blade and absorbed into it. Anko felt the mark dissolve and the three exited out of her mind. When Naruto and Anko returned to consciousness, he saw her check where her mark was and only saw unblemished skin. He then asked, "How do you feel?" Her response was her tackling him and giving him a long hard kiss to the lips. She then said, "Thank you, that awful taint is gone." "Now, what did Kyuubi say about you? Something about you liking me?" Naruto blushed and said, "I have for a while now, but I really didn't want to say anything just yet. I mean, I didn't want to cause any problems." Anko leaned in and said, "As if I would have a problem with it." She grabs the edge of her coat and in a teasing manner, pulls her coat aside, allowing him to see her body as the fishnet she wore hid nothing. She then said, "Like what you see?" Naruto surprised her by saying, "I certainly do, you are a true beauty." Naruto then got up and took her by the hand and said, "Come with me, I want to make sure my mother gets in safely." Anko nodded and followed him. Namika's compound. Naruto and Anko were led to the room where Kushina was by a rude Anbu that stayed behind. Once they reached the room, Naruto said, "You are dismissed, tell Danzo I thank him again." The Anbu bowed and said, "Yes, Naruto-sama." As he left via Shunshin. Naruto looked at his mother's face and saw a red-haired woman, her being dressed in a hospital gown. Naruto saw her eyes open and saw that they were a dark green. She looked at him and said, "Minato-kun." Naruto shook his head and said, sorry, I'm not my old man. Kushina's eyes widened as she said, Naruto? Is that you? Naruto grinned and said, it's me alright, I certainly look like my old man huh? Kushina chuckled and said, you certainly do, I bet the girls are all over you. Anko seemed out of place, so she started to step back until Kushina asked, so Naru-chan, who's your friend, is she your girlfriend? Naruto and Anko started to blush and Naruto said, she's my sensei, but I hope she minds going past that in the future. Anko blushed deeper and said, maybe, I certainly wouldn't mind. Kushina then asked, so, how has your life been? I doubt it went smoothly. Anko spoke up and said, you can say that again, the kid has had problem after problem, and the civilian council has made sure that it stays that way, arrogant bunch of bastards. Kushina was fuming. She said, why did that old monkey never remove them? I'll never know. Minato-koi was going to until well, I guess you know by now. Naruto nodded and said, yeah, I know. In fact, I had a meeting with them a couple weeks back and they put me under the craw. Anko blushed, knowing what that meant. Kushina noticed the blades on Naruto's back and asked, I see you found my family's scroll. I never used it, but I'm glad you could. Naruto then said, do you need anything Akasan? Kushina shook her head and said, I'm fine, just need to get moving, can't let myself get rusty. Anko spoke up, saying, you really shouldn't overdo it, as you came out of a coma. Naruto added, you were put there by the civilian council, who had some doctors keep you that way. Danzo had a few of his rude Anbu take you out of there and bring you here. Kushina sighed and said, well I'm glad he's on our side, it makes things easier. She got back under the covers and went back to sleep. Anko and Naruto walked out of the room to let her rest. Anko then gave Naruto a long deep kiss. When they stopped for air, she asked, did you really mean what you said? That you have to be under the craw? And that you want me as one of the girls? Naruto blushed and said, yeah, I do. Anko merely gave him another long kiss. Flashback end. Naruto and Anko were heading for the Hokage's office to get their next mission. When the two entered, they saw Squad 8 there as well. Sarutobi then said, I'm glad you two are here, I was about to send Squad 8 on a mission to back up Squad 7. I sent them on a mission to escort a man named Tazuna to Wave, but it seems that the mission was higher rank than expected. Originally it was a C rank, but now it's an A rank. I'm sending you as backup. Naruto gained a glint in his eye and said, A rank you say? This will be more fun than I thought. Anko gained a similar glint as she thought, at least we'll be able to get some alone time. Sarutobi said, I want you to leave ASAP and Naruto, leave a bloodbath. Naruto saluted and left to tell his mother about the mission. Kurenai pulled Anko to the side and asked, so how are you two getting along? Anko blushed and said, he's wonderful. He has a certain charm about him, but he has the strength to crush anyone. Kurenai was shocked and she said, are you too? Anko nodded and said, his is an adult and under the craw. Besides, he managed to do something no one ever did before. Anko walked away to prepare for the mission. Kurenai just stood there and was broken from her thoughts when Hinata came up behind her and asked, Sensei, we should prepare for the mission. Kurenai nodded and said, Naruto and Anko will meet us at the West Gate in an hour. Act lightly, as we'll be heading straight for Wave Country. Dismissed. West Gate 1 hour later. Naruto and Anko saw Kurenai, Shino, Saya and Hinata waiting for them. Naruto carried Death Scythe on his back, his family scroll tied securely. Kurenai then said, alright, we're heading out. Now remember this is an A rank, so let's try to be careful on this one. Alright, let's move out. Izuna's home. Kakashi was reading his book, despite the host's daughter's request. Sasuke was brooding in a corner, Sakura pestering him for a date every 5 seconds. Kiba was talking to Akamaru aka trying to figure out how to get in Hinata's pants. Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, was cooking dinner when the group heard a knock on the door. Tazuna was downing a bottle of sake. Tsunami opened the door and saw Naruto and the others in the doorway. Naruto, in a professional tone of voice, said, why hello, we're the backup that Kakashi-san requested. Tsunami moved out of the way and said, oh please come in, we were waiting for you to show up. Anko looked at Kakashi and said, what kind of crap did you guys get involved in? Kakashi said, it's Gato of the shipping company, he's hired Nukenin to take out Tazuna. One of them is Abusa Mamachi, the demon of the hidden mist. Naruto raised an eyebrow and asked, and he got away from you? What happened, did you hold back because of your babysitting duty? Sakura said, he was looking out for our client, you idiot. Naruto glared at her and said, I wasn't talking about babysitting the client, you moron. Kurenai decided to play peacemaker and said, alright, let's just relax here, as we need to work together. Naruto nodded and said, I'll go do some training, Anko-sensei, I'll be back later. Naruto walked out the door, his blades on his back. Kiba walked over to Hinata and said, "Why don't we find somewhere else to go?" Hinata stuck her nose and said, "Forget it, you perv." Saya walked up behind Kiba and said, "I would stop if I were you. It's obvious she doesn't like you." Kiba growled and said, "She will be my woman, no matter what." Anko put a kunai to his neck and said, "If you try anything, if I don't kill you, Naruto-kun certainly will, as you know those two are close." Kiba gave a cocky smirk and said, "Yeah right, that dead last can't do anything to me." Anko shook her hand and said, "He isn't as you knew him. He will have no problem removing your head from your shoulders." Kiba grew wide-eyed, while Akamaru shook his head and thought, that's what he gets, why must he act so retarded? Forest clearing. Naruto took out the blade of Artemis and took a few test swings to make sure he held it. He started to chop down trees using only one swing. He eventually grew tired after the 15th tree. He stuck the blade into the ground next to him and slept next to a tree. Morning crept up slowly and a young woman wearing a pink kimono that had brown swirls decorating it. She wore simple sandals, her brown hair flowing down to her butt. She came upon Naruto sleeping and saw the blade in the ground and saw it was as large as the one her master used. She then saw the leaf headband Naruto wore and thought, he must be part of some sort of reinforcements. I can't let him interfere. She reached a hand to try and snap his neck, but her gentle nature took over and she shook him awake instead. When Naruto opened his eyes, he saw what he thought was an angel. Naruto asked, "So what is a pretty girl like yourself doing here?" The girl blushed and said, "My name is Haku and I'm gathering herbs to use as medicine." Naruto smirked and said, "For Zabuza I believe." Haku froze and Naruto said, "I can assure you, Gato is not an ally, he'll kill you and when the job is done, he's known for it. My advice, get away from him and help us take him down." Haku looked nervous as she asked, "How can you be sure we'll be safe?" Naruto stood up as he said, "My name is Naruto Namikaze. I can grant you and Zabuza asylum in my village as I have pulled with the Hokage. I can sense you have a bloodline, which is why you left Mist, correct?" Haku had a scared look on her face as she said, "Yes, that won't be a problem, will it?" Naruto shook his head as he said, "Konoha has a completely opposite way of looking at bloodlines, they are treasured, not hated. I want you to tell Zabuza that on the day you fight Kakashi and his squad again, I will offer him and you a chance to join us. You won't be sorry about it." Haku nodded and made note of the sword in the ground. As she walked away from the clearing, Sasuke walked in and saw the sword. He then said, "Give me that sword dead last, you couldn't use that if you tried." Naruto grabbed the handle with one hand and hefted it onto his shoulder. He then said, "Yeah right you filth, it's you who could never lift it. Now get out of my way or I will cleave you in half." Sasuke moved aside, scared shitless of both blade and user. Naruto walked into the house, blade still on his shoulder. Kakashi had his eyes widened at the size of it and said, "I do not want to get cut by that thing." Naruto smirked and said, "Good call, I sliced a few trees in half with this." Sakura added her bullshit, said, "Yeah right Naruto, there's no way you could do that, so stop lying." Anko looked up from the couch and said, "Oh he can, he's done that to train with that blade. Helps his swing." Kakashi said, "Well, time to eat, I'll have my team train, Kurenai is doing the same, Naruto and Anko, go do whatever it is you do." Naruto and Anko walked back into the forest and Anko asked, "So, did you run into any trouble out here?" Naruto replied, "I ran into Zabuza's accomplice and laid the groundwork for a possible deal to be made. If it goes smoothly, the only death will be that of Gato and his men." Anko walked closer, a sway to her hips as she said, "Well, you certainly have this all planned out." Naruto smirked and said, "I may have acted that way in the academy, but not here. I'm not a fool and I'm not afraid to show it." Anko grinned widely as she straddled his hips and started to kiss him deeply. When they parted for air Naruto said, "Well, that is certainly some serious motivation." Anko grinned and said, "Just think of when we can actually be alone." Naruto kissed her neck and said, "I can't wait." Time skip morning of bridge fight. Naruto awoke to a scream from the kitchen. Quickly dressed and with his blades of chaos attached to his chains, he rushed downstairs to see Inari protecting his mother from two thugs. Their path was interrupted as Naruto launched the blades at their necks, cutting off their heads. Inari saw him pull the chains back and asked, "How?" Naruto merely looked at him and said, "To back down to a man like Gato is foolish, take away his money and he is nothing. I'm going to the bridge to check on my comrades, I'll leave some clones here just in case." Naruto made some shadow clones and sped off down the trail to the bridge. Kakashi, Sasuke, Kiba, Sakura, Kurenai, Shino, Hinata, Saya, Anko, and Tazuna saw the workers pass out on the bridge. They saw Zabuza and Haku waiting by a crane. Anko stepped forward and asked, so, what's your answer? Naruto will be here soon, and you know Gato might show up. Zabuza replied, I did a little look into Gato's employee records and saw the kid was telling the truth. Old man Tazuna, you can no longer consider us enemies. Kakashi eased up, seeing as their only threat was no longer so. Sasuke said, we can't trust them, we should get rid of them. Drawing a kunai, he charged at the Mist Nin and would have gone farther had something not blocked his path. Haku's heart leaped as she saw that it was Naruto, his blades of chaos drawn and pointed at Sasuke's face. Had Sasuke moved even an inch closer, he would be dead. Zabuza's eyes widened at the sight of the blades and he asked, are those what I think they are? Blades that all of Kiri reverse. The very blades of the god of war himself. Naruto turned to him and said, yes they are, it makes sense, as Kiri followed a similar training program to that of Sparta. Zabuza did the one thing not even Haku had seen him do, he bowed and said, if you wield the blades, then you are a descendant of a god. Naruto-sama, it would be my honor as a swordsman to work for you. Naruto said, raise warriors and show some dignity. It seems the fat rat has appeared at last. On the other side of the bridge, a short man wearing a business suit, holding a cane and wearing sunglasses. He was followed by 100 thugs. In a nasty voice he said, well, so you decided to betray me, Zabuza. It doesn't matter, as I was never gonna let you leave here alive anyway. Kill them all, but bring me the women, I'm certain I can get a good price on them, after I entertain myself of course. The entire bridge has a deep pressure, along with a large killer intent. Naruto drew out the blade of Artemis, the purple glowing blade pulsating. Zabuza grabbed Kubikiri Haucho off of his back, a crazed look on his face. He shouted, I'll never let scum like you touch my daughter, do you hear me? Every last fucking one of you is dead meat. Naruto's eyes turned blood red, Kyuubi in his mind thinking, her mind flooded with ecstasy because of the Kai, oh yes, spill their disgusting blood, give a bloodbath, Kratos himself would be proud of, do it, claim the power for your own, then, come and see me. And I'll give you something else to claim. She went into a deep part of the cage to relieve some stress, as Naruto had her Yauki cover him in a fox-like shape. He hefted the blade of Artemis on his shoulder and said, you dare think to lay a hand on the ones I care for. I will see that this place becomes your grave, little man. Turning to Zabuza, he said, I'll take the ones to the left of Gato, you get the right, now, let's kill some fuckers, shall we? Zabuza grinned so wide it was shown through his mask, and he said, oh hell yeah. Both Naruto and Zabuza charged into the group of mercs, their swords cutting through like butter. With every swing, another thug was cut in half, diagonal, or straight down the middle, as Gato ran to the back of the group. When he saw his last man fall, he saw not two men, but demon incarnate. Naruto swung down the blade of Artemis, its blade now red. Gato tried to plead, saying, please, let me go, I swear I'll leave, and never come back. I'll stop, just please, let me go. Naruto began to chuckle, then full-blown laugh, and said, how many times have your victims said those words? How many have pleaded for their lives in front of you, yet they got nothing but death? And as you have not listened to their words, I will not listen to yours. He raised the blade and swung it down through Gato's head, cleaving him straight in half. Sasuke and Sakura saw this slaughter and were horrified. Shino, Kiba and Hinata, raised in clans, knew what to expect but still felt green. Saya thought, Naruto-sama is getting stronger, it's good to see his progress. Kakashi and Kurenai were amazed at how strong Naruto was, while Anko had a calm face on the outside but had similar thoughts to Kyuubi in her head. Haku heard what both Naruto and Zabuza said and knew that Naruto counted her. Naruto began to feel lightheaded and he turned to Tazuna and said, you can celebrate, this land is free of vermin. As he said those words, he slipped into unconsciousness. Return to the village, new weapons, and headaches. Naruto woke up in what he thought was his mind, but it was very different. What once was a sewer now looked like it was ripped from Mount Olympus. Think the area you go into at the end of God of War 1, the God of War's throne room. Naruto walked down the walkway and saw a lavish temple-like structure, built in the way Kratos himself may have lived. He walked through the front door and instantly heard moaning. After following the sound to what looked like a bedroom, he parted the curtains to see something that made him blush deep red. Naruto undid the binds on Kyuubi's wrists and saw her put her hands on her stomach. She said, if we were outside this damn seal, I could very well have become a mother just now. Her face turned deep red at the thought as Naruto cupped her face with his hand and said, I will find a way to get you out, I promise. You were always with me, helping me when no one else would. Whatever mistake you made, I'd say you've paid for it enough. Kyuubi couldn't help but blush and she waved her arms around the room, saying, I made a little change in here, as you can tell, I remember how the building and chambers on Mount Olympus looked and thought, what better mindscape for the new god of war than that of his personal chambers. Oh, the stories I can tell you. Your ancestor, Kratos, was quite the ladies' man. Never a night went by when he didn't consume wine or took a woman to his bed. I hear he even got into the bed of the goddess of love and sex herself, Aphrodite. But that was years ago, and now, the mantle is empty, and soon you will take his place. Anyone who ever played the God of War games knows what I mean. Hell, a trophy is called ladies' man. Naruto wrapped his arms around her and said, I will take it with pride, as I will destroy anyone who dares try to harm the ones I love. He tightened his hold, and Kyuubi knew what he meant. They soon fell asleep, peaceful in their lover's embrace. Naruto's room, Tezuna's house. Naruto woke up well rested, despite activities that normally would say otherwise. He felt a weight on his arms and chest and saw Haku and Hinata sleeping on his arms while Anko was lying on his chest. Saya was sitting near the wall and she smiled when she saw he was awake. Kyuubi saw the same, as she said, my love, who knew you were so popular with the ladies, you really are just like him. I wonder what wild times we could have in the future, Naruto chuckled, waking the girls up, Anko immediately hugging him, saying, don't scare me like that. You made us worried. Naruto patted her shoulder and said, I'm fine, just overexerted myself, that's all. Anko playfully slapped his shoulder and Naruto noticed his coat, shin guards and scroll were safely in the corner of the room farthest away from the door. Naruto had a tick over his head as he asked, just what happened while I was knocked out? Haku had a pissed off look on her normally gentle face as she said, the Uchiha tried to break in here to steal your scroll and that harpy tried to help. Zabuza Towson stood guard at the door after that and Anko-san here placed a sound blockage seal as well as a privacy seal. That way, we can't hear them and they can't hear us. Naruto had his eyes blaring red and he said, I warned those fuckers one time too many. Do they really think that they are above punishment? Anko growled and said, and what's worse, they came in the middle of the night and when they saw us like this, that little bitch had the gall to call me a whore and tried to kill Haku-chan here. Hinata shivered and said, and Kiba tried to drag me out of here, something about, some bitches need to be re-educated. Naruto had his chakra flaring, enough to break the seals on the room, and he said, that is it. I have had it with those arrogant pieces of shit. Those fuckers are so dead, you hear me? Dead. Kyuubi was shivering and was about to pull Naruto back into his mind again, but business came first. Zabuza opened the door and said, so I take it that you girls told him right. Good, because that bastard challenged Naruto for the claim over his weapons, and since this is a clan matter, we can't interfere. Naruto held his hand out to his scroll, and two new blades emerged. They had the appearance of gold, but looked worn and battle-scarred. Naruto had them attached to the chains on his wrists. And felt memories rush into him as he saw Kratos spin, a tornado of water surrounding him. The name of the attack flowed into his head, Divine Reckoning. Yes, these are the blades of Athena from Gao 3, I like this version better. Naruto's grin grew wider and the group went out to a nearby field where the fools were waiting. Kurenai was pinching her nose, Kakashi was embarrassed by his team, Shino and Saya were ready to neuter Kiba while said fools were grinning up a storm, thinking they were gonna win. Naruto and the others arrived, Kakashi saw the pissed off look on Naruto's face and thought, they royally fucked up now. At least I won't deal with them anymore. Kurenai saw Naruto's eyes and saw they were not bright red or deep blue as she saw before. Now they were dark yellow. And though she passed it off as a trick of the eyes, she could have sworn he had red tribal tattoos. Naruto passed his scroll to Anko and said, this will not take long, I will crush these fools into the dirt. Anko gave him a kiss on the cheek and said, show them what Spartans do to thieves. Naruto drew his new blades and he saw Sasuke smirk. The arrogant fool said, what a loser, soon, I will take your weapons and maybe even those girls of yours too. Naruto growled, but was attacked from behind by Kiba, Sakura and Sasuke attacking from the front. Anko tried to jump in, but Zabuza held her back, saying, this is a clan matter, we can't interfere. Besides, Naruto-sama isn't gonna fall to some lowly genin. Naruto saw the three-pronged attack and started to spin, saying, Divine Reckoning. To everyone's shock, a large tornado of water surrounded Naruto and threw the trio away, Hinata being reminded of her clan's rotation technique. Naruto stopped spinning and seeing Sasuke move, stabbed one of his blades into the ground near Sasuke's nose. Naruto said, his tone speaking of no mercy should what he says be disobeyed, listen well, you filthy copycat. These weapons are mine. And no one, not even the council, is going to change that. If you ever dare to steal from me again, I will use an ancient punishment from my ancestors' time on how they dealt with thieves. He grabbed Sasuke's arm and held his blade at the wrist. After all, a thief cannot steal without hands. Zabuza was grinning like crazy and Anko was hoping Naruto would do it. Kiba and Sakura nearly, wait, they did shit themselves. Naruto asked, "This is your last warning, do I make myself clear?" Sasuke quickly nodded his head, and Naruto dropped the arm as if it were diseased. He and the others walked away, leaving the idiots to think about how they nearly died because of their foolishness. Time skipped the bridge, a few days later. Squad 7 and 8 were packed up and ready to leave. Naruto and Anko had sealing scrolls full of their things. Seeing as they no longer had a client to worry about, they would make it by nightfall, minus the possibility that Sakura didn't get tired too, much. The women of the wave were cheering, all of it directed at Naruto. Inari even looked on the verge of tears until Naruto said, "Be strong, child, you'll have to be in order to keep this land safe. To ensure no one like Gato ever gets their claws into this place again." Inari replied, "I'm not sad, I'm happy. Now I'll be how my father wanted and protect the ones I care about." Naruto opened a sealing scroll and pulled out a wooden version of the traditional Spartan blade and handed it to Inari. He then said, "Excellent response, I look forward to seeing you make that a reality." Inari was beaming, as Anko, Haku, and even Hinata were thinking, "He's good with kids, that's a plus." Kurenai was thinking, "He showed such calm brutality, but he did it to protect us." Maybe Anko was right about him. He truly is stronger than what we thought. Kakashi had his nose in his book, but his mind was thinking, knowing how stupid and stubborn Sasuke is, he'll go to the council to try and get Naruto's weapons off of him anyway. And of course those pussies on the civilian council will bend over backwards for his punk ass. Glad the shinobi council is on Naruto's side. Zabuza was grinning like mad, seeing as he was under the protection of a descendant of the god of war and that his adoptive daughter caught Naruto's eye. Naruto smirked as his team turned to leave. When they were out of earshot, Tsunami spoke up, saying, "What will we name the bridge?" Tazuna tried a stupid idea, but someone quickly shut his mouth beforehand. Inari spoke up, saying, "How about the Great Naruto Bridge?" The townspeople cheered, as it fit that the bridge would be named after their hero. Time skip Konoha Gates. Kurenai saw Naruto speaking to Hinata and Saya and was glad that Naruto could get a response out of the dark-haired girl. It was even more than a response if the blush on her face is anything to go by. Anko was talking to Haku and Zabuza and Kakashi had his nose in that book of his. Sasuke was brooding and Sakura tried to get dates out of him. Kiba was either glaring at Naruto or staring at Hinata's ass. Akamaru continued to whack him with his tail every time he did either. As the group approached the gates, Kakashi spoke to the guards, saying, "Squad 7 and Squad 8 returning from our mission in waves, along with 2 ninjas seeking asylum in our village." The guards saw Naruto and bowed in respect. This action shocked everyone except Anko and Naruto, as he thought, "Mother must be active in the village." That's good to see. He heard one of the guards say, "It is good to see you back, Naruto-sama, your mother has been eagerly awaiting news of your mission." Naruto nodded and said, "I thank you for telling me what has happened in the village since I was gone." The other guard replied, "Your mother has made a public appearance and revealed who you are. There are still those who do not believe, but they are dealt with." Naruto nodded and said, "Well, I expected for her to wait till I returned, it's good enough for me. Glad to see she has recovered so quickly." Naruto, Zabuza, Haku and Anko walked ahead when they heard a guard say, "One last thing, you are to attend a council meeting on the matter when you return. I wish you luck, Naruto-sama." Naruto felt a hand on his shoulder and as he said, "Thanks for the warning." He left via Anko's Shunshin, Zabuza and Haku following. Council chambers. The group appeared near the door, the 2 Anbu from before standing guard. Naruto heard one of them say, "Geez, they can't give you a break, huh kid? Though they learned their lesson by now." Naruto grinned and said, "Guess I really need to put fear into those weak civilians, huh?" The Anbu chuckled and said, "You're damn right on that one, give 'em hell, kid." Naruto merely had a devilish grin as the doors opened. Naruto walked forward, the blades of Athena on his back, as he asked, "So what is it this time? The bitchy little council needs to see me again soon." The shinobi council started to smirk and Naruto saw his mother walk in with Sarutobi. Sarutobi spoke, saying, "Naruto, it seems this council is once again trying to take your scroll away from you. It seems Sasuke sent a messenger bird ahead in order to tell the civilian council." Naruto gripped the handle on his blades as he said, "So the little bitch did not understand my warning. He loses to me, then tries to bitch his way out of it. What a pissant." The fat civilian councilman shouted, "Be silent, you filth, I do not believe for a second that you are Yondame's son. Especially since it was that whirlpool whore who tried to prove it to us. I will not stand for another second of this farce." As before, his head was cut off at the neck, Naruto's face the pure definition of anger. He said, "I dare anyone to say something like that again, I absolutely dare you." Kushina spoke up, saying, "As head of the Uzumaki clan in Konoha, I motioned that the civilian council be dissolved and that Danzo be made head of a division of Anbu." Danzo smiled, as even he couldn't stand dealing with the civilians. Sarutobi asked, all in favor? There were multiple ayes, all opposed. A majority of the civilians said nay, but were outvoted. And so it is passed. Danzo, you may have your Anbu division, and the civilians will no longer have say in council meetings, instead, they will be restricted to the business as merchants. And never again will they meddle in shinobi or clan affairs. Naruto sighed and said, about time, and you may want to take a look at their accounts, as I believe that they may have taken more than they show. Sakuya screeched, who the hell are you? Just because this slut spread her legs doesn't mean you get to, her words stuck in her throat as she felt cold steel on her neck. She heard Naruto say, you dumb bitch, you fuckers never learn, do you? Now I suggest you get the fuck out of this room before I make that bitch daughter of yours go home without a mother to look forward to. Every former civilian council member ran out of the room, leaving Danzo and the shinobi council. Sarutobi and the others saw brown spots on civilians' pants and started to laugh. Tsume put an arm around Naruto's neck and said, nice one, you scared those bastards shitless, you're alright with me. Sarutobi said, and now Naruto, as I doubt you know, the exams are coming up. Anko, do you think he's ready? Anko grinned and nearly shivered at the memory of the bridge as she said, ready? Damn straight, I'm more worried about who he's against. Sarutobi nodded and Kushina caught the shiver. She then asked, but seeing as he must be on a three-man team, who's he going to be on? Danzo raised a hand and said, I had Saya placed on squad A to ensure Hinata-san did not deal with Kiba, no offense Tsume. Said woman merely shrugged it off. I suggest that Naruto act as a replacement for Saya for the exam. Either that or he joins as a fourth member. Sarutobi looked at Naruto and asked, so, what is your decision? Naruto thought for a moment and said, I'll go as a fourth member. Saya already has a good camaraderie with Shino and Hinata, so it would be wrong to usurp that. Besides, she's actually nice to have around. She may be quiet most of the time, but the quiet ones are the best thinkers and the ones to watch out for most. Danzo chuckled and said, she'll be delighted to know this. Naruto said, now, if there is no other business left to attend to, I wish to show my new guests where they shall be staying. Sarutobi nodded and said, that is all, you are dismissed. Naruto and the others walked out of the room as Tsume thought, that kid will cause a hell of a massacre. And all with a smile on his face. Naruto was leading his guests to his home when they heard a loud screeching noise. Naruto, without even looking, asked, the hell do you want Sakura? Was one ass kicking not enough? Sakura grew livid as she said, you got my mother off of the council you idiot. My mom was right about you. You're nothing but a no-good bastard with a slut for a mother. Naruto's dark yellow eyes stared her in the face, his blade inches from her neck. His voice was as cold as ice as he said, if I'm no good, then what does that make you, filth? You call my mother a slut when yours is the very definition of the word. I have heard some very interesting stories about your mother, how she tried to have mine killed merely because she was married to my father. Or how when they were younger, your nasty mother tried every attempt to get into my dear father's pants, only to be stopped by my own. The people of your clan are weak, desperate stalkers who will stop at nothing to get their claws into who they are after. But then again, like a mother, like a daughter. Sakura was shaking in fear, the civilians backing away from the scene, while the shinobi were glad they got to see this. Naruto continued, the exam is coming up soon, and should I face your precious Uchiha, the only way he will leave it is if he is in pieces. Now get out of my sight, you detestable, pathetic excuse of a kunoichi. It's weaklings like you that make women who actually have strength still look bad in our profession. The shinobi and kunoichi watching were cheering, saying things like, you tell her Namikaze-sama. Or, amen to that, put that bitch in her place. Even Haku and Anko were cheering, and Sakura was mortified. She fell to her knees as Naruto walked away, everyone around him grinning, and some of the kunoichi asked if he was available, to which Anko and Haku grabbed his arms and said, sorry ladies, get in line. Zabuza and a few other shinobi muttered under their breath, lucky bastard. Thanks for watching my video, sayonara.